guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a little bit different. We're doing a little bit of kind of like fashion news, well, kind of just like a little bit of news in general, because if you guys have been living under a rock, there has been a lot of tariff talk going around, so I felt like I would give you guys my little update and my little thoughts. So we're basically going to be talking about how Trump's tariffs and the economy are changing fashion, okay, and why sewing is probably going to be the most smart financial move at the moment. The Trump tariffs are definitely going to make sewing the most smartest financial move, so we're just going to jump right into that today. So I do have my notes, y'all. I was supposed to film this video yesterday, and honestly I was supposed to film this video about a week ago, before there was like another kind of tariff drop going on, like before it actually went into motion. I was going to film this video a week ago, but I lost my notebook with all my notes. So I do have my notes down here of the stuff that I wanted to talk about in this video, and lost the notebook. Literally was scrambling, okay? This whole entire room was a mess just for me to try to find this notebook so I can film this video. And I have other video notes written down in this notebook. So yeah, usually I put stuff in my phone notes, but for some reason I had wrote everything down in the notebook. But yeah, found the notebook, we took our notes, so we're just gonna jump right into it. Okay, so like I said, if you've been living under a rock, Donald Trump recently just signed an executive order imposing tariffs on China, Mexico, and Canada. These are the US's biggest partners, okay, under the US International Economics Powers Act. So the IEEPA. So these tariffs are going to impact 1/3 of all goods that are shipped into the US, okay? So that's a pretty big deal. This includes everything like clothing, footwear, beauty products, fashion stuff, fabric, everything, pretty much everything, even food, all of that stuff. But we're talking about mostly fashion because you guys come to this channel for fashion. So we're going to be touching on the fashion aspect, how it's going to impact the fashion industry. You guys know fashion just isn't particularly about style. It actually mirrors the times that we live in. Fashion is a very, very big reflection on the times that we are in. Right now, with the tariffs driving up costs and the economy tightening, we're gonna see a big shift in the fashion world, particularly, okay? We got a little piece of hair. Guess what? That is where sewing is going to come into play. Sewing is probably going to be, like I said, one of the smartest financial moves that you can make. The most creative move that you can make as well right now while all of this is happening. All this is brewing, all of this chaos, okay? But it does give you room for a little bit of opportunity, okay? So like I said, fashion has always reflected the economy. In hard times, people tend to get more resourceful, more creative, more ethical, more practical, okay? That's probably why you see brand like Pretty Little Things kind of switching. You guys see they did a whole rebrand, which I actually want to do a video on that, but they're getting a little bit more, more practical with the fashion. So let's break down how the current economic landscape, especially Trump's tariffs, okay, are going to be shaping what we wear, and why sewing is going to be a really, really big game changer. You're going to see a lot of DIY sewing, handmade. That industry is going to be going up right now. It's going to be booming in these times. So how does economic hardships shape fashion trends? Well, as you guys know, I wrote it down in my notes. If you guys didn't know, during the Great Depression in the 1930s, people mended and repurposed clothes back in the 1930s. And back during the Great Depression, they turned flour sacks into dresses. So repurposing was really, really big back during the 1930s, upcycling, things of that sort. The next one was World War II, rationing, and basically this was during the 1940s. Fabric was really scarce. There wasn't really much to work with. So simple, functional designs became the norm. Things that were, like I said, practical, functional, things that you really more so needed versus wants. So that was kind of like the reflection during the 1940s. So during the 1970s, during the oil crisis and another inflation time, that was, like I said, the 1970s, DIY fashion and thrift shopping and making your own clothes surge, kind of like what we're kind of going into now during an inflation and during a recession and things of that sort. So it's kind of like I said, history repeats itself. So then during the 2008 recession, fast fashion began to explode. So because people wanted cheap clothing, but sewing and sustainable fashion, fast fashion ended up exploding because people were looking for cheaper alternatives, cheaper clothing options. So that was kind of like what we seen during the 2008 recession. But sewing and sustainable fashion also, we saw, had made a comeback during the 2008 recession as well, even though people were still looking for cheaper clothing options. And then with the 2025 economy now, with tariffs rising, the tariff prices rising, and people are looking for things that are long lasting but affordable, and they're looking for more DIY solutions. You're going to see a lot of consumers looking for more DIY solutions. Like I said, with us being in the similar situation as the 1970s inflation and the 2008 recession, inflation and tariffs are going to make mass produced clothing way more expensive. So we kind of already know that. I feel like that's the thing that's really being talked about right now, not only within everything else, but in fashion as well. But I feel like during inflations and recessions and when things rise, people still want to look good. So beauty and clothing, people still want to look good, they still want to feel good. That's why you're going to see there's going to be such a huge shift in upcycling and secondhand shopping and in making your own clothes. So why are the tariffs going to make clothing more expensive? Because of the textiles and apparels. With the recent 25% of tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico, plus 10% tariffs on Chinese goods, that means things like fabrics, zippers, and even finished clothing are going to be more expensive for brands to import. So if you're somebody who does have a small business, right now is probably the time to be stocking up, going to places that are going out of business right now, like Joann's, things that are having sales. I don't know if you guys knew, Joann's is going out of business, so this is a great time to stack up on all your, your essentials and looking for fabric. Just a really good time to do that. It's a really good time to stock up before we see the tariff prices continue to rise. Fast fashion brands are also going to be raising prices to cover costs. So things are going to get a little bit more expensive. The things that you usually see at certain prices are probably going to rise because they're going to be trying to cover the cost of the tariffs for things coming into the US. Luxury brands are going to be cutting production you're going to see a lot of luxury brands cutting production just to stay afloat, just to stay profitable. And sustainable fashion is, you're gonna see a rise in sustainable fashion. It's gonna become more popular, but it's still going to be pricey, okay? So support your local businesses, your small businesses. Even though you're gonna see the shift of people creating stuff, this is the time where you should be willing to spend your money, okay? Because sustainability is still not cheap. Okay, it's long lasting, but it's still not cheap. And like I said, your favorite designers, your independent designers, your upcoming designers, they're putting a lot of their hard blood, sweat, and tears into this stuff. So you definitely want to start supporting these independent and underground artists, because if brands have to charge more because of these prices rising, that means you're gonna have to pay more. So that's just the way that it works. But this is where sewing comes in. What if you, as somebody who wants to have new clothing in your wardrobe, what if you didn't have to rely on store prices at all and you just kind of started learning the skill of sewing? So that's where the skill of sewing comes in, where you can learn how to sew. And that's what we're going to talk about in this next sector, is how sewing is going to help you to not only save money, but to stay stylish and to still stay looking good and feeling good, and saving you money for if you have things coming up. So instead of spending $30 on a low quality t-shirt, okay, you can actually look in your closet, see if there's something in your closet that has a really nice fabric that you can actually make yourself, okay? You can make your own, or go to the thrift store and buy a shirt that you think is cute but maybe just needs to be modernized for under $10 or less. Maybe you need a dress for an event, okay? Skip the oversized boutiques, okay, and maybe sew your own custom fit for half the price, like I said. And even though sewing is still not cheap, there's still other options, like going to the thrift store and then upcycling maybe a really nice dress that you see, and then upcycling it into something new for the event that you have coming up. So that's where you kind of save money with learning the skill of sewing. So yeah, I won't necessarily say that going out and just buying fabric and like the price of fabric is just going to be super cheap. That's why I say things like upcycling can save you a lot more money. So, and just finding like old pieces in your closet that you can rework. You know, there's so many different pieces that I want to make, especially for summertime. Cute little tops, and not just splurging that extra money on new clothes, making the best of what I already have in my wardrobe. And the best part about this, you can make high quality, long lasting clothes that won't fall apart after a few washes when you learn how to sew. So that's the benefit of knowing how to sew. If it does come apart, you can go back to the sewing machine and mend it back together. Next thing is going to be the rise of DIY fashion and small sewing business. So not only is learning the skill of sewing going to save you money as somebody who likes to look good and feel good, and you want to, you know, make new clothes and just be more creative, and this even helps you to create a new hobby for yourself to just kind of keep your mind off of all the freaking chaos that's going on in the world. You can also use the benefit of your sewing skills to start your own at-home sewing business, or become a, you know, independent designer, or, you know, create handmade pieces. Like I said, running a small sewing business is a great way to start making a little bit of extra money. Okay, y'all need that money on. That's on y'all. Okay, but like I was saying, with the prices going up, not only is this going to help you save money, but like I said, a lot of people are going to be running toward DIY fashion and handmade businesses. So if you can sew, you can turn this into a side hustle or a full hustle, because I've seen people, I follow a lot of people who said that they went to college, tried to apply for different jobs, didn't get the jobs, so they just created their own job, and now they are literally sewing full time and making a full-time income off of it. So yeah, turn it into a side hustle or even a full-time business, because there are so many different ways to make money with sewing. And maybe I'll go into and do like an in-depth video on this, but you can do custom clothing. Tailoring is a really good one. Selling upcycled or handmade pieces, teaching sewing classes, doing alterations and repairs. I feel like Etsy is just a really great place to sell sewing stuff, like, or to sell handmade pieces. There's already a huge handmade community on Etsy. So, and Instagram, surprisingly, I didn't realize how many like handmade DIY stuff. DIY is like super huge on Instagram. So yeah, people are looking for unique, high quality clothing that doesn't necessarily break the bank. And if you can sew and you can provide that to people during these times, you can take advantage of, you know, the demand for it, the trend. You can definitely start making some money from home. So I really don't want to make this video too long. I kind of just wanted to kind of like throw it out there, kind of like get your guys' minds going and just thinking about how you can use the skill of sewing and DIY to your advantage in these moments, in these times, and just kind of throw out there the people who don't know about, you know, what's going on in the economy as far as the tariffs that are happening at the moment. So what are my final thoughts on sewing, and like, is sewing the future of fashion? What do I think about that? Like I said, I feel like fashion changes with the economy, and right now I do feel like we're shifting into a more conscious, budget friendly and sustainable choices, not just within fashion, but I just feel like all around when it comes to different goods, like in beauty and wellness and, you know, fitness. And I feel like you're gonna see more brands kind of really highlighting sustainable and conscious what am I trying to say? Conscious consuming in a way. But sewing isn't just a skill. I definitely do feel like it's a financial strategy as well, in a form of creative freedom. So not only can you use it as, if you're just somebody who just wants to use it as just a hobby, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to feel like you have to sew as a way to make means. But that is an option if you're somebody who, you know, you do know how to sew, or you want to learn how to sew. It could be a way to create a stream of income for yourself. So, or if you're not, you don't want to, you know, make money off of sewing, again, like I said, I feel like it's a great form of just creative freedom, especially during these just really unprecedented times. Okay, so yeah, you guys can let me know in the comments below. We could just have a little bit of a conversation below. What do you guys think? Are you interested in learning how to sew? Are you interested in learning how to start a sewing business? Drop a comment below. Let's have a discussion. And if you guys do want to see me do more like videos about sewing business, like starting a sewing business or starting a clothing business, or just anything about sewing in general, and design, then drop your request down below. I do want to do more fashion business related stuff. But again, I am going to be putting more in-depth videos out when I create my sewing academy, which is still in the works. So be patient with a new mom, okay? But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because I think sometimes y'all don't be getting my notifications. So hit the notification bell for more smart money and DIY content. I think that pretty much wraps up this video. Not gonna make it too long. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I can't wait to hear your thoughts down below, and until the next video, I love you guys, and I will see you at the top. Peace.